Hi. Hi.
Thank you so much for joining us today. How are you?
Good. Thank you for inviting us to chat.
Yeah, thanks for
No
having
problem
us.
at all. It's our pleasure. For those who don't know you, we're going to do a little bit of an introduction. So this is Prickly Pear Productions for all our viewers, and we've got Zoe with us.
Hello.
Go away. And Chantelle as well. So we're just going to kick it off straight away and ask you guys, who are you? What is Prickly Pear? What sort of theatre do you guys make?
Thanks, Shah. Do you want to go?
Me? Okay, sure. So Prickly Pear Productions started off because Zoe and I are both Maltese and we're both living in the UK. We've been here for 4 years. I've been here 4 years. 4 years. So okay, yes. And we don't often see ourselves represented in theatre very much. We always said that we'd love to see more Mediterraneans on stage, more Mediterranean stories being celebrated. So we decided, okay, enough whinging. It's about time we created our own stories. So Prickly Pear came about, and the whole point of Prickly Pear, therefore, is to celebrate different cultures and work with people and artists, and specifically women, from those different cultures, so that the stories are very truthful and honest. And because of that, we have 2 shows currently in our repertoire that we have been fortunate enough to develop and take to a few theatres and festivals. One of them is Nanna's Bolognese, which is a family show, and that really sort of celebrates Maltese culture and being away from home and feeling homesick and what it means to move away. And the other one is called Immigration Crisis, the musical. It's a very different show. It's a devised piece, and it actually focuses on very different cultures. So we have an actress who is 2nd generation Indian. We had another actress who was from Caribbean descent, and then Maltese, and also somebody from somebody from the UK. So that's why we had 4 very different perspectives and 4 cultures coming together in the same house, because it revolves around the story of 5 women living together in the same house. And that's basically us. Zoe, did I miss anything?
No, we're a baby company. We've been going for 2 years now, so very new, but yeah, that's
Fantastic. That was going to be my next question. Like, how long have you guys been around? But quickly on this.
And it's interesting because Zoe is based in Sheffield, and I'm based in London.
Amazing.
Which is interesting. As a company at the beginning, we thought, is this going to work? Since we're living in totally different places, but actually we found it very easy. So we do something very similar to this, or Zoom or Talkie or whatever, and we give ourselves sort of deadlines. We need to do so many things up until next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then we have another meeting like this, and then we're always WhatsApping. I think I WhatsApp Zoe more than anyone else in my life.
our boyfriend can't get as much attention.
That's amazing, though. Like, as in, that's like an incredible thing to sort of be based in 2 completely different places and manage to have a company that is working, and also create 2 original pieces yourselves. And also, I guess the opportunities, the span, the network is even bigger than, in a sense, which is great for you. And it's also for people who are, really wanting to make a company happen, and their best friend or whatever, a colleague that they worked with before, or someone they really want to work with is in another, part of the UK. You guys have proved that it's possible. So
yes.
Great stuff. Great, that's amazing.
I'll go to the next question, shall I? So obviously we're here talking like this. Obviously you guys are used to this. We're certainly not. But we're talking like this because there's a little thing called coronavirus in the world right now. And generally in the news. But yeah, it's obviously a really tricky time. for many, many different reasons for everyone globally. We always saying that we are hearing stories of what's happening kind of at the top, like with the bigger, certainly for us in the entertainment industry, the bigger companies, the bigger theatres, the bigger production houses, which is, you know, sad, and it's good to hear, but we obviously are affected at a
Small, like, more condensed level, yeah.
like it's affecting everybody. So that's why we're really interested in hearing stories from different companies. So for you guys, how are you doing as individuals and as a company? B, how are you guys like navigating as creatives, as a creative company?
Yeah.
Basically, how are you?
Yes.
How are you doing?
Yeah. And especially because you guys are also, you know, as in you guys are also, you know, home is also, as much as it's here, it's also in Malta as well. So we spoke about this with another company as well, the challenges of also having, and not just company, because, you know, even regionally, you know, it's from Leicester, and that's sort of another thing that's been put into conversation. So in terms of that, that's something as well to consider that we'd love to hear more about.
So, how are you doing?
I mean, yeah, it's difficult for everyone, and I can say from a privileged perspective that I'm still working. I'm working from home. I'm lucky enough that, you know, I haven't lost my job, which is great, because it means I can still afford the bills as a creative person. But it fucking sucks. Oh, sorry, I swore. It sucks. Because, you know, I can't see my family. Like today, I was meant to be going home for Easter, and I'm no longer going. So it really sucks on that perspective. So there's definitely a sense of gratitude in one way that my life can go on. I just have to stay at home. And then there's obviously like real heartbreak personally, because, and as well for the company, because I can't go home and because our shows got cancelled. Thankfully, not fully cancelled. Again, being a sort of fringe theatre, being so small, you guys understand, it's really hard to get into the industry. It's really hard to get your work out there. So I fear for fringe shows in future, like what will this do to theatre? What will this do to tinier companies? So again, I am very grateful that the theatres that we were planning to work with in this time have said, we will reprogram you. I hope that's the case for many others, to be honest. Yeah. So that's me, Chantelle. You're going home now, so you can talk.
As of this morning, yes, as of this morning, the reason I stayed in London for as long as I did, because all my family is back home in Malta, as most of us, yeah, all our families are in Malta. Most of my friends, my grandma is home in Malta, and the only reason I stuck around mostly is because my partner, my boyfriend, was working from home, and he's fully employed here in the UK, but we've just gotten permission that from his employer that it's okay, might as well go home to Malta, you can work from home there. So we are trying to book a repatriation flight. We're trying to sort out accommodation for us once we get back home. So yeah, everything's up in the air, and I guess because of that, because everything's a bit like in limbo, and I've felt like I've been in limbo for this past 2-3 weeks, I guess. I personally feel like it has definitely taken a toll on my productivity. I try. But look, man, for example, Zoe and our meetings have become, I don't even know, 2 hours of what is life? How are we doing? And then 5 minutes of actual theatre company chat. So could we be more productive? Yes.
For sure.
But there's a pandemic, so.
Yeah, but also you need to have that, you know, maintain that sort of self-compassion. And also, yeah, as in we spend, I say, just as much time chatting and checking in as we do then doing the work, and I think that's exactly what needs to be happening.
Yeah.
Right.
It's really,
Yeah.
it's really nice to hear that again, because all the conversations we've had so far, I think in every single conversation so far, right, they've all said,
Yeah.
friends first. It's health, physical, mental health first, and then anything else is a bonus, you know.
Yeah.
There's also absolutely no pressure. I think there's a lot of, we've been saying, there's a lot of pressure to become like the next Shakespeare, to have a six-pack at the end of this, to become like a prima ballerina. I don't know. And no one is chasing you for that. No one is expecting anything. So yeah, totally. And what you just said, Zoe, definitely rang true, about remembering to practice gratitude in this.
Yeah.
It's very easy, I think, even for myself. I'm a bit of like a catastrophizer. So like, yeah, to like actually have a minute. And the ladies from Luna, in the morning, she wakes up and she like tries to think of one thing she's grateful for, and it helps really put things in perspective. Like, I think she said, like, if you're breathing that morning, it's like something to be grateful for. It's,
Yeah.
yeah, that's really nice to hear.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you can like do your job from home.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely something I don't want to take for granted at this point. You know, you always complain about going to work, and as a creative, you want to work in the creative industry, and when you're doing that, you're like, what am I doing? But I am super grateful that they have kept going, and that means I can keep going and pay for food and stuff. So, for sure.
And in terms of you guys sort of managing and navigating your way around as a company, sort of where are you guys at? Not in terms of like plans, even just emotionally, and sort of just, yeah, how are you guys kind of working together? Yeah.
I think, like Chantelle said, like, it's been really hard to be productive. So, you know, as soon as everything hit, and as soon as the Prime Minister was like, don't go to the theatres, we were like, ha ha ha, we'll have a show in 2 weeks. It was very demoralizing. And it's hard to feel motivated when we don't know when this is going to end.
Yes.
And, you know, we had a lot of other projects that we were thinking of on the back burner that were like, maybe this is the time to bring them to life. But actually we need ACE to be open, you know, we need funding to be actually there. Whereas at the moment they're like, yeah, funding might be there, funding might not be there. So I don't know, Sha, I don't know if you agree, but it's just, yeah, for me personally, and I think for us as a company, although we want to keep working, and we are working hard to get the shows reprogrammed.
Are we allowed to say with who?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, with Camden People's Theatre and Derby Theatre and Notte Bianca Festival in Malta, and we're working hard to make sure the shows that they commissioned us to do still go on. But they're also in the same thing. You know, a lot of people are getting furloughed in these theatres as well, which means that they're not working till the end of May, which is like, okay, so we're on pause till the end of May. And it's not like you can take this time to email producers and programmers and be like, we have show, because they're just gonna be like, we're not here. So yeah, it's a weird place to be, and I guess you probably feel the same. Like, you want to create, but we're not gonna put our show on Zoom because that doesn't work.
That's it. We've mentioned two really good points. So I think people aren't really talking about, again, they are, but also you meant the key word, like demoralization. I think that is a really, really important thing to consider and to think about, because as you said, it's not just on our level, on every level. Like, we are human beings at the end of the day, and demoralization is a real thing, and it's very hard to just, I think there needs to be time to sit with that, and then slowly to find, that joy and motivation again. That's a real, it's nice to hear, because it's not a nice thing, but it's nice to hear that is there, that is within people right now. And also, what was I going to say? Oh, the Zoom thing. Yeah, that's a really good point, and that's something we've seen. I think some companies have the ability to translate the work they're doing online, and some companies it just doesn't work. or it's not enough. You know, everyone is different, and I think that's really key. So pressure to kind of shoot themselves on an online platform, or actually, you know, every company is different, right? So every company needs to see what works for them, and I think that's something a really good point to put into the conversation.
Yeah.
Zoe before mentioned how there's a project we're trying to work. I mean, yes, at this point, I think we feel like the only thing we can do, and that is in our power to do, is we're talking about ideas that we've had in the past, and we're thinking, okay, now's the time, I suppose, to develop it, to research these topics, to bring something else to life. So that's what we're doing, slowly but surely.
Good though. Good.
Maybe.
We look forward.
Yeah.
And that's about it, just to get those creative juices flowing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys, in terms of like top tips from Prickly Pear, you guys mentioned one definitely is chatting and checking. Do you guys have any others, whether that's for other companies or other creatives or just as human beings? What would you say has been your little nuggets of positive?
Interesting. I think it must be so much harder for creatives who are trying to go at this alone. So I am again grateful to have, and obviously you guys as well have each other. So it is so much easier. So I think my first tip would be find that person, you know, find that other creative half, because it doesn't mean that after this is all over, you guys have to start a fringe theatre company together, but it just means that you can have regular check-ins with someone who really understands. You know, because as much as I love my boyfriend and Chantelle loves hers, our boyfriends are both in like the sciencey field. My boyfriend's an engineer, Tom's in science, and they can try to understand, but they're not going to understand really what you're going through as a creative person. So yeah, my tip would be to find that other creative person outside of your little bubble to help. Yeah, just help get the juices flowing, help just have a chat. And those things. Yeah.
There's actually from a personal point of view, this is not something I've implemented with Zoe, but for myself, I found there's quite a few not opportunities, I don't know, but there's quite a few challenges out there, like on Twitter, on social media. There's quite a few companies that are still I don't know, offering support and asking for people to complete tasks and whatever, and I actually find them really useful just to use them as a deadline, because if I don't, that's the problem I find, is that I work well when there's a deadline.
Yeah.
If there's no deadline pushing me, then I can really sort of take a back seat and sort of just chill, and that's not great for my sanity. So I have resorted to finding these deadlines online, and if I have a deadline, then I know that okay, I have something to work towards now, and this needs to be done in 2 days, and that's great. So my personal tip would be yeah, to stop making yourself, in order to not be passive and wait for things to happen, you really just need to look for them, and I find it really useful to find deadlines.
Yeah. Very good.
To get me going, and at least, you know what, if that way, even if it's not perfect, but I've done a few things where I'm like writing short film or something, but at least at the end of the day I think, wow, even if it's crap, at the end of the day I have a tiny screenplay that might not go anywhere, but I feel productive, and I feel like, well, hey, that's a good Tuesday. So yeah, that's really useful for me.
100%. That's great, guys. Thank you so much. We're gonna go to the last question now, which is basically what is next in a very, very loose sense. But what are you guys, you know, what's like, if there was a goal, or if there was like something you saw that you guys, you know, are aiming towards, again, with no pressure, you know, a deadline, but like a good kind of deadline, a motivating deadline. What can we expect? What can like anyone who's watching look out for Prickly Pear sort of to be you know, creating or giving us something back?
Yeah, I think different things. I think we want immigration crisis to have the life it was meant to have. So really hoping that that goes ahead this year. For me personally, would love to build it and go to Fringe next year, Edinburgh Fringe, and take that production and really build our reputation for ourselves. And I think to really venture out into different what's the word I'm looking for? Different different things like Shah was saying, screenplay, getting film maybe involved, because we purposefully named ourselves Prickly Pear Productions so that we're not tied only to theatre, that we could go into film, we could go into different things. So yeah, I think that's a huge goal for us as well, to start venturing out into those things. Shah, would you like to add anything?
No, but yeah, Immigration Crisis the musical should be coming back to Camden People's Theatre in London, hopefully. So yes, we'll be there. We should be going back to Derby Theatre. We should be going to Malta at the end of the year with Nota Bianca, which is a festival that happens in our capital city back home. But we're going to be taking a shortened version of Nanna's Bolognese, which is the family show. And we're supposed to be developing another piece of theatre for that, which is new for us, because it's supposed to be it's like a promenade piece of theatre which celebrates the history of the people of Valletta. So that's exciting. It is exciting. So we really want it to happen.
It's gonna happen.
It's fine. Everyone stay home so we can make this piece of theatre happen. And then we're trying to develop a new piece of work, and the deadline is 2021, just because the piece of work that we're trying to create has a historic value that ties in with 2021. So there is a deadline there. It's just very up in the air and very flimsy, but the aim is to create new work to add to our repertoire by 2021 as well, whether that's in the form of theatre, like Zoe was saying, or whether we decide to take it into another art form and create it for screen. We're not yet sure what to do with it. But yes, we will see. Exciting things, despite the pandemic. Exciting things will happen.
Very good. Can you just, for everyone who doesn't know who you are, so that they can follow you and they can keep up to date, just to know where we can find you. So any social media platforms or anything else?
Yes, we are on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, the top three, let's say. We are Prickly Pear Prod on Instagram, Prickly Pear P on Twitter, and Prickly Pear Productions on Facebook.
Fantastic.
I think I got that right.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys, for your time and for being so honest and sharing everything that you guys are going through right now. I'm sure it will, it's going to be of real value to some people out there who are going through the same thing. So thank you very much. We'll speak soon. Stay safe.
Thank you, you too. Wash hands, stay home.
Bye.